I don't know, you have to be really f***ing crazy to make any film.
This is Ryan Canna, director of The Plateau, his first feature film, which you can watch free here on YouTube. He's here to talk about how he went from taking behind the scenes clips of a music video.
A friend of ours who's a singer, she was doing this humongous music video shoot. I had asked her, hey, can I like use some of this footage for a film? And she was like, yeah, sure, go for it.
To a nearly 2 hour long feature film. Oh, yeah, and he did it without even having a script.
So we didn't have a script.
Listen to him describe how he created this scene.
The way that every scene was done is that the actors would come over. They didn't know anything about what we were shooting. Some of them didn't even know their character. Like, even for that scene, that woman who plays the acting coach, she didn't know anything. I was like, just come over and we're going to shoot a scene. I'd be like, okay, this is each of your characters. This is each of your dynamics in the scene.
I don't know. She wants me to make it seem
Okay,
more
pause.
real. Yep.
You're already rushing. You're talking to me, you're stressing me out.
I would tell them, this is what happens, right? You're this acting coach and you're trying to get him somewhere, right? And you're kind of weird in your techniques.
Okay.
So to ground ourselves, we're gonna take a deep breath. And we're really gonna exhale, okay? But we're gonna push it out through. You're constipated emotionally.
And he's super resistant, so you have to pull him in
Up, like you're constipated. Push! Good.
and like break him, you know?
The lighting is terrible. It smells like wet cardboard, and everything keeps shaking.
And I would basically outline each emotional beat of the scene. So it's like, okay, at this moment you have to react like this, or at this moment you have to say something like this. So I'd specify all the details, and you're kind of outlining it almost like the three acts of a film.
Pull it back in. Because you're gonna rock that audition. Huh? My work here is done.
Thank you.
When making a movie, the director has to have a vision for the film. They have to know what they want and how to get that from their actors. Ryan explains it like this.
I think my favorite part of the process will always be directing. So it's always going to be like being on set with the actors. The way that I like to work, which is heavily reliant on collaboration with actors. I love sitting down with actors before a scene and we talk about it, and we kind of shoot the shit a little bit and we figure out the scene and kind of work out the dialogue and seeing what works and what doesn't.
Now, I really wanted to get a camera for this shoot, but unfortunately I couldn't. So I brought my phone.
You should honestly, when even if you have a script or if you don't, whatever your process is, this is the best way to break down a scene with actors as structured as possible and as detailed as possible, so that they're really on the same page as you, because it's really important to communicate what's most important for you in the scene, because someone could read something on the page or someone could take something as you tell them and do it in their own way, and that's great, and we did a lot of that. But also, when something's really important and you have to highlight a reaction or something that they deeply need to understand in the scene, like something about their character or how they understand the situation, then it's really important to communicate that beforehand. A lot of the best lines in that scene were from my actors. Like, they came up with all of that. They really just went all out. And like at the end of each take, I'd be like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, do more of this. And with each take, we would kind of find it more and more. We'd shoot a bunch of times, and then that's kind of it.
And that was great for an individual scene, but a movie is made up of multiple scenes that all connect to each other. This was a problem that Ryan ran into pretty quickly.
When we started shooting this film, it wasn't really much of anything. It was going to be a short film. So I brought in my friend, and I really had an idea for his character to be someone who's going through some type of depression. Again, I didn't really know what it was. It was all very loose. And the whole music video thing that we shot, I was like, oh, we're definitely putting this in the film. I was shooting so much footage. I was basically with my buddy recording footage for our film while also recording behind the scenes for that shoot, while also shooting stuff meant for that music video. And it was such a weird thing. Like, I'd never really shot something with that in mind. So it gave that whole scene in the film a very documentary like feeling. And then we slowly started bringing in other actors and building their characters, and we had shot all this footage, and I was like, this is really great. I kind of want to shoot like a few more scenes for our short. But then a few scenes turned into many scenes, and I was like, oh, I think we're just going to make this into a feature film.
And so when you have all this footage, you have to find some kind of a way to connect it all together.
And I was really inspired at the time by the works of Apichatpong Weerasethakul and Hong Sang-soo and Chantal Ackerman, and I really wanted to make something in the style of their films, which is a lot more like we set up the camera and we're just observing someone doing something like a chore or whatever, and just being in their environment, and interspersed throughout would just be little dialogue scenes. Once we had shot a lot, I was like, okay, I'll take these clips and we're going to reverse engineer the film. These are all the scenes that we shot. Now I need to actually make a film out of all of this. So I wrote it all down on a Google document, and then I was able to actually figure out the ideas of the film and what it would really be about. Not like exactly plot wise, but more just like, what is the film actually about? I really grew fascinated with how art influences life and vice versa. And because a lot of the film centers around like the filmmaking community, but also just artists in general, I really wanted to focus on a lot of the artistic process. Even more so than that, I wanted to tell the story a little bit of the people in our area, because the Plateau in Montreal is one of the densest neighborhoods in all of Canada, and it's also a place where tons of artists thrive, and you can see that in the environment. And I really wanted to capture that, from the graffiti to the beauty of like the parks and how nature intersects with like buildings around, and the street performers. Like there's just so much that I wanted to capture. So
the street performers were something that impressed me about the movie. I thought they were pre-selected and then placed in chosen locations around town, but Ryan's solution was much simpler than I thought.
this movie is shot mostly on a street here called Mont-Royal, and it's one of the most popular streets in the city, and they close it off in the summertime, which means that it's a pedestrian street. And on that street, a lot of street performers are there. I lived on that street during the filming of this movie, so I'd walk back from work and I'd go down the street and I'd see some people. And then I'm like, hey, are you still going to be here in 15 minutes? Can I go grab my camera, come back and like shoot you for a film? And everyone that I shot for this film said yes. So I would like literally run back to my apartment, grab my camera, go right in front of them. I'd put like a little mic next to them, and I'd be like, okay, just do like 3 songs and then we're good. And I just chose the best one and put it in the film.
So he had a microphone. He must have had a camera. It's time to answer everyone's favorite question. What camera was this movie shot on?
When I first started making the film, I had just bought the Blackmagic cinema camera. They have such complicated names. The BMPCC 6K Pro. It's kind of a great camera all around because it's kind of perfect for every scenario, and you can get really beautiful footage out of that thing. And especially for night scenes, you shoot really wide open at f2, f1.8, and you don't need to do too much lighting. It's just really choosing an ideal location that looks best and has a lot of interesting things going on. And it was very easy in that regard. The whole film is just shot on 2 lenses. The first one, and it's the one that's used for like 85% of the film, is the Sigma 18-35. It's a really great lens for everything, honestly. It shoots at f1.8. It's very malleable for whatever look you want to give your project. It doesn't impose anything. And I do love more unique lenses, but for something like this that's very documentary, and this lens was kind of perfect. And the second one that I used was the Rokinon 85mm. That it basically matched the look of that lens very closely. It was also very sharp and very fast. So I shot the whole thing on those 2 lenses. And for lighting, my whole motto was like using what's there in the location, whether it was natural light or practicals, and just filling that in if I needed to. So for that scene with the acting coach, even though we had lovely natural light coming in, just to give them a little bit of fill on their face, I just took my Amaran 250D, which is a really nice cheap light. I just put it in the corner of the room and I bounced it off the ceiling, and that was it. Nothing else. No negative fill, no bounce, just literally put the light up in the ceiling and it gave a nice ambient light just to fill in the rest of the room. For other scenes, one of my favorite tools, and it's the light that I used the most, was the Aperture MC. For like the first month of shooting, all in that duplex, I had like 5 of those lights. And then for the rest of the shoot, I had 1. We were shooting a scene with 2 of the actresses outside of an apartment, and I only had this one little light, so I had a friend of mine just stand really close to the actress, and it just gave her a fill on her side. And then the ambient light was doing the rest of the work. Even if I didn't have lights, I would honestly work with that, and it became a part of the style to have lots of silhouettes and single point lighting from just one source, and you kind of just mold the look of your film around what's available. It's basically like what looks best for the least amount of work and what's going to be easiest in terms of not setting up too much that got in the way of the actors or myself, but it also still looked cool and creative and gave an interesting look. So, you know.
The hard part about making movies is that they just take a long time. Ryan spent 3 years on this movie.
I don't know, you have to be really fucking crazy to make any film. Like, even a film like this, believe me, there was many times where I just wanted to like throw it out the window. I was like, I can't believe I'm doing all this work. I just want to stop. I want to like, you know, get my time back and just be doing nothing right now, but I have to work on this film. It's very difficult sometimes because no one's waiting for you to release this film. I mean, like maybe friends and family, but in the grand scheme of things, no one cares about your work. So all you really have is dedication. Also just being very open to collaboration. That was one thing I really loved on this project was I was very open with actors and musicians and everyone that came on to work on this project. I was very open to what they wanted to bring and kind of steering them all in the right direction. So I kind of want to bring more of that element going forward.
If you're a filmmaker and you want to collaborate with other filmmakers, start by watching Ryan's new film, The Plateau. You can also join my school community I'm starting exclusively for filmmakers. You can find the link in the description. Thanks to Ryan for coming on, and I'll see you in the next video.